Doing my Read 180 class. I hope you guys are doing well. Now here we go with day number 6, ladies and gentlemen, day number 6. Thank you for all of you who gave me comments in regards to our new setup. I hope this works out for all of us and it's a lot easier for us to follow along. Today we're going to do our activities like we've done it before. Today, once again, we're going to do vocabulary. We're going to go ahead and work on a few of pages 145, 146, and 147, our grammar lesson, and then our exit slip. So like always, our objective for today is up here. It says students will locate, write, and build content area vocabulary for workshop number 3. That's the workshop that we're in right now. And then they will analyze a news article, make inferences, and use academic words when writing. Okay, so that's our objective for today. And we're going to go ahead. This is where the video will be inserted, the one that I'm currently playing right now. So, page 145. 145 is the vocabulary words. As I've told you before, wherever there is a number, you are responsible for filling that out in the Google Doc. Okay? So, for example, number 1 right here, you are to write down, type in the word, look up the definition, and then write me an example, okay? And you don't necessarily have to write the example that is there, but it definitely helps out because there is a sentence starter there. So once again, you write down the word and then the definition. If you guys all remember, I told you that the definition, look up the definitions on dictionary.com. Once again, look up the definitions on dictionary.com. You don't need to use the sentence starters that are here because the definitions on dictionary.com are a lot different. The meaning is still the same, it's just worded differently. Okay, so this is page 145 that you'll be working on. And so on your Google Doc, there will be 18 slots that you need to fill out when it comes to that. Okay, then we will go on to page 146. 146 is titled The Brownsville Youth Court, and this is a very interesting article because it deals with not just criminals, but teenage criminals, basically the youth like you guys. And even though a lot of you here are really good people and are good citizens, there are some teenagers that are not, and they get caught up in bad activities, and they do get arrested, and some of them do have to go to court and pay their dues. And so this article is basically about that. But once again, don't forget, you have to write down the word, the definition, and then write down the example in your Google Doc. And then right here where it says number 5, you are obviously reading the article. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and read it out loud to you. So, The Brownsville Youth Court by Christina Constantini and Christopher Rios. And this one's about the 6th Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Basically, what the 6th Amendment is saying is that if you commit a crime and you get caught, then you have the right to go to court. You have the right to either be heard by a judge or a jury, and a judge and a jury that will hear both sides, including your side, that you have the right to an attorney, that you have right to witnesses, you have right to legal counsel, and all of these different things to make sure that you get a fair deal when it comes to going to court. Because let's just be honest, there are a lot of people that are innocent, and they need obviously attorneys and witnesses to prove that in court. Okay, so it starts off by saying this Brooklyn court helps kids stay out of jail, and it's run entirely by teenagers. Interesting. Next page, page 147 reads, Faith Garrett, an 18-year-old from East New York, attended her first college course in upstate New York last month. She says that wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for Brownsville Youth Court. The Brownsville Youth Court hears low-level cases for first-time offenders between 10 and 18, like Garrett, who was arrested for stealing an umbrella. And unlike regular courts, the jurors, judges, and attorneys, too, are all kids. So interesting enough, for this court, it's basically comprised of all kids, all teenagers, but they specifically only hear low-level offenses. Basically, like if they stole, something real simple. And this is why they are called, these type of cases where you steal something, they're called either a misdemeanor or a felony. A misdemeanor basically means that you stole a dollar amount that is very low. And then a felony means that you stole a dollar amount that's really high. So these people here, or these teenagers, are listening to misdemeanor cases done by first-time offenders. In other words, these were people that were caught for the first time, teenagers or kids that were caught for the first time. Then it goes on to read, the members of the court who come from area high schools and community organizations are between the ages of 14 and 18. They undergo 40 hours of training, culminating in mock bar exam before they're allowed to hear their peers' cases. The young court volunteers receive a small monthly stipend for their services. So, as it says there, these are very young kids, but they don't just throw them out there. They obviously train them so that they know exactly what they're doing. And then a stipend is just basically like money that they receive. Okay, not a lot, but it's something for their services. Then it goes on to say, Garrett says that she was initially suspicious about her case being overseen by a court of fellow teenagers. In other words, homegirl, she was worried that her case was going to be heard by other kids, and she probably thought they're going to find me guilty. Then it goes on to say, or she says, I got nervous because I didn't know the kids, and I didn't want the kids to judge me, she said. But when they started asking the questions, they were trying to help me. Okay, so this is the end of page 146 and 147 and also 145. Okay, don't forget to answer these questions on the Google Doc, and then there is also an attached Google worksheet for these, just like we've done in class before. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and move over to today's grammar lesson. Today's grammar lesson is contractions, grammar lesson number 6. Once again, contractions and grammar lesson number 6. And here, like always, there is an example and a definition of what a contraction is. I'll read it out loud. It says a contraction is a word formed by joining two other words. So it's when you take two words and you join them together to make another word. And then it says an apostrophe shows where a letter or letters have been left out. For example, do not and don't. So D-O-N apostrophe T to let you know that they connected these two words together. So section A says underline each contraction, write the words that make up each contraction on the line. So it says stingrays look as if they're part bird, part fish. Okay, and that's the end of the sentence. So your job is to look for the contraction. So it's the word there. All right, I want you to rewrite the whole sentence and then write the word there as in two separate words. So it should read stingrays look as if they are part fish and part bird. Period. And you're done. Okay? So you're going to do that for part A. Part B says find pairs of words that can be made into contractions. Underline each pair. Then write the contraction each word pair can make on the lines following the sentence. So it says, I have never tried scuba diving, but I would like to. Okay? So I have never tried scuba diving, but I would like to. And then number 2 says, it is a good way to explore what is under the water. It is a good way to explore what is under the water. So, in these two here, what will be the contraction? What will be the words that you will try to basically combine? In the first one, I have never tried scuba diving, but I would like to. I've, so I, apostrophe V-E, never tried scuba diving, but I would like to. But I'd like to. Capital I, apostrophe D. I'd like to. Okay. Number 2, it's a good way to explore what is under the water. It's a good way to explore. So here the contraction would be IT and IS into it's. And then what is under the water? What's under the water. So you would combine what apostrophe S to combine those two words. Okay, so that is the activity there. And then we will go back to our Google slide. And then our exit slip for today that you need to answer is, should teen criminals be treated like adult criminals? Explain why or why not. Okay, so your job is to let me know, should teenagers, just like that young lady Garrett in the story that we just read, should they be treated like criminals? Okay, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and close off. Thank you everybody who's been doing their work. I really do appreciate it. And I want you to know that I miss you all. And we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. We're just about halfway done. Later.